Hey Fruit Faces, I just want to talk with you today about a study. This is one of about 18 studies that has been posted on my video that I posted a while back, something about zero carb but low carb diets. And I gave my stance, and this person decided to come and list these 18 studies. So I knew right away that you can't put a whole lot of stock into a lot of these studies because of what I've been learning about basically the scientific, community and big pharma and everything in this country and around the world, actually. And I will get into that another time, like the specifics about the whole industry. I mean, basically, the bottom line is that the scientific journals are all highly funded and probably wouldn't exist without big pharma and other industries putting advertising dollars into and putting ads in the journals. As a layperson who does not really subscribe to any of these journals, I did not realize that they do have ads in them, but that is a very important piece of the puzzle because, of course, that means the advertisers have the power. Their advertisers are not going to put their ads into a journal who is disagreeing with what they come up with. And that also, big pharma and a lot of them fund these studies in the first place. And it's so deep. Anyway, not going to get into the whole big thing. I just want to start out by talking about this first study. The first study is weight loss with a low carbohydrate Mediterranean or low fat diet. This is in the New England Journal of Medicine, supposedly a very prestigious scientific journal. Okay, and this is one again of 18 studies that this person was saying is they're all great studies, they're random control. So here you can see some of the conversation that took place before I actually had a chance to check up on these studies. So this was my initial response saying, yeah, it's probably a straw man. This was his response saying that they were all meta-analysis, which first of all is totally untrue. Just this first one is definitely not a meta-analysis at all. And I can also tell that he did not go through, with a fine-tooth comb, really like he says, and really make sure that these studies are good. Because obviously the first one, as I'm about to show you, is totally bunk as far as scientific studies go. So you can see as he goes on, he starts talking about hypocalories. So there's my response saying that he's obviously campaigning against something completely different than what I'm talking about. Sorry if this is going too fast for you. Feel free to pause the video if you would like to read it. I wonder if this guy really, it's obvious that he lied about going through these with a fine-tooth comb. I'm wondering if he's just scientifically illiterate or if he really is some kind of a shill just trying to throw us off from the meat and dairy industry. Again, another response from me. Just be aware of people like this who are very condescending and act like they know everything without a doubt, because just because they're promoting some kind of a supposedly superior study doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. And I'm about to show you exactly how to deal with this kind of stuff. And again, we see the law of mirroring in action here, where he's accusing me of needing to update my knowledge and leave my prejudice behind. And again, I'm going to show you guys exactly why he is the one who needs to do that. Next, he goes on to talk about the China study and how it's been completely disproven. And of course, this is a tactic of these type of people who try to say, oh, that's been disproven, but they don't want to tell you why or how. I guarantee you he's getting his information from Denise Minger, who is a total shill and who doesn't even have a scientific degree. And she has led a lot of people away from the China study without any real knowledge of science. So I've done a lot of research, and I called it before I even looked into this, that this was probably and possibly a straw man study. And that just means that
people are saying that they're doing a study against a low-fat diet, and they're not. Basically, it's just when you say you're arguing against something and you're really not promoting the other side fairly. And that is one of the big issues with this study, as I'm about to show you. Again, people like this see one study without further researching it, and they think that it's the law without realizing the truth about the pharmaceutical industry. Again, watch my videos, because these points that I'm making in this discussion are definitely going to be topics of videos upcoming, and it's a really big deal. We need to realize that our scientific system is corrupt.
So let's just talk about this for a second here. First of all, I will tell you, it says up at the top that, well, maybe not right at the top. I actually had to do some digging, because it says, there's a sentence that says, oh, there's no conflict of interest were found. But it's supported by nuclear research. It's supported by Dr. Robert C. and Veronica Atkins Research Foundation. Okay, so if you have a Atkins Research Foundation, I'm very sure that they're not going to be trying to set up their studies and fund studies that are going to find anything different than the fact that they want to promote low carb studies. So obviously there is a huge conflict of interest. Second point is that this study only has 322 participants. This is a very small study, okay? This basically means nothing so far, with a conflict of interest and a study of only 322 participants. The third thing, their food was evaluated by a food frequency questionnaire. So that's obviously very questionable. And then when you go down and look at, if you can't just read the excerpt and find this, but if you actually go down to what is going on, and in fact there is a correction that was added, they're not actually low fat at all. And also, not only that, but these people were limiting their calories. The low fat group was an energy intake of 1,500 calories per day, which is technically starvation, only 1,800 for men. So that is definitely not what most vegans are promoting and high carb vegans are promoting. And let's see, it was 30% of calories from fat, 10% saturated fat, and an intake of 300 milligrams of cholesterol. The low carb is actually 40 to 42% of calories from carbs, which is not low carb at all. So not only was the low fat not low fat, but the low carb's not low carb. So it's so hilarious. And the ketosis data actually shows it. It shows that they weren't truly low carb at all. So again, the low fat and the Mediterranean groups both had between 30 and 33% of their calories from fat, and they did not increase their fiber consumption. So again, they're basically having a standard American diet. If you read through the study, even though they're saying that it's so much better, they're actually, the changes were minimal. The biomarkers were very minimal. Nothing really changed that much. There was a little bit of weight loss. There was not very much change. And it even says, some of them even got on more medications, some of them got on less medications. Very few made a very increased market change at all. So people highlighting this study are seriously misguided, and if not outwardly lying when they are saying that this is such a great study. This is not even a random control study. So when the guy posted on my page saying, oh, they're all great random control studies, that's just totally false. The diet that I promote, the lifestyle that I promote, does not restrict calories. It restricts fat, and that, again, you can't use apples to compare to oranges and say, look, this is correct. So thank you for letting me talk to you guys about this today. I think it's really important. I've been guilty of it in the past too, to just take, oh, that's a study. Oh, the news is reporting on this study. No, not only do you have to look at who funded it, you have to look at what it actually says. People who report on these can, just take what they want and run with it. And so many things wrong with so many of these studies. And like I said, stay tuned for more information about why we can't trust really the scientific community in general, as it is right now in this world. So I will be talking to you guys soon. Take care. Don't forget to eat your fruit, and I'll talk to you later.